Hello Year 1, I hope that everybody's been having a really good week. Today in English we are going to be describing the city in Tom and the Island of Dinosaurs with lots and lots of adjectives. So before we start our learning, please can you write the long date, Thursday the 18th of June 2020, and the LI to use adjectives to describe the city. For today's lesson you will need your workbook, a pencil, a purple pen or pencil, your story map and the word bank. There once was a boy called Tom who lived with his grandfather in an old lighthouse at the edge of the sea. Between them, Tom and his grandfather took care of the lighthouse. On stormy days and moonless nights, they would light the lamp to show passing ships where the rocks were. On sunny days they would go fishing together, and Tom's grandfather would tell him wonderful stories of faraway lands and sea monsters. Tom loved his grandfather and the lighthouse very much, but sometimes he longed to sail the wide grey seas in search of adventure. One day Tom saw something glinting among the wet pebbles on the seashore. It was an old bottle chipped and covered with seaweed, with a message inside. "Help! I'm shipwrecked on a faraway island. There are dinosaurs here and a smoking volcano. Please come before it's too late. Help! Thank you, from Katie." Tom rushed home with the message. "Oh, poor girl," said his grandfather. "She's in terrible trouble." He looked worried. "But what can we do? We can't leave the lighthouse. If a storm blows up, we'll have to light the lamp." "Don't worry, grandfather," said Tom. "I'll rescue her." Tom raced down the stairs to fetch the special emergency box. He pushed and pulled and heaved it up the narrow steps to the balcony. He pulled the ripcord. With a rush of wind, the sides of the box collapsed, and an enormous rescue balloon filled with air. Tom jumped into the basket. His grandfather gave him a snack for the journey and wished him luck. "Be careful," he said, as he let the tether go. Tom's balloon soared into the sky. As night fell, he drifted across cold seas and sleeping towns. He flew past snow-covered mountains, across wild, dark green forests, through rainstorms and over waterfalls. At times the balloon dipped down to touch the waves. Later it drifted across a great city at dawn, and then, as the sun rose, flew on far, far away. So now it is time for you to practice retelling the story to your adult with the story map. I won't be going through it with you today, but you can pause the video and practice it with your adult. Now let's recap what is an adjective. Now, Year 1, we should all know what an adjective is because we've been learning about it lots and lots lately. Pause the video to tell your adult. An adjective is a describing word and it can tell us more about what something is like. For example, yesterday we were talking about the forest. The forest is beautiful and shady. The trees are gigantic with rough bark and dark green leaves. So here we are learning more about what the forest looks like, what the trees look like, and what the leaves look like by adding adjectives to our sentences. So today I am going to show you some images of different cities, and can you write some adjectives to make your word bank, which will be really important later. So now that we've had a chance to see what different cities look like, you can see my word bank here. So I've got the words colossal building. So colossal means that it's really, really huge. That's an amazing word that we could use. Busy, gigantic. So the city could be gigantic or the buildings could be gigantic. Beautiful, bustling. So that means that it's very busy. Compact. That means that all of the buildings are very close together, like we saw in some of the videos and the pictures. Modern, so the buildings might be new. Crowded, lots of people, lots of buildings, lots of cars. Noisy, smooth buildings. Contemporary, so that means that it's new and modern again. expensive and famous. So those are some of my words, and I'm sure that you've got a lot more on your own. So can you choose 2 adjectives to complete this sentence about the city? The city was something and something else. Use your word bank to help you. My sentence was, the city was modern and Tom could see famous, expensive buildings. Later it drifted across a great city at dawn. This is the sentence that we have in the story, but now we are going to change it to add some more adjectives. Later it drifted across a great city at dawn. The city was bustling with crowds of people near the colossal buildings. Tom could see expensive, famous buildings and hear noisy traffic and car horns loudly beeping. So where I have some words in yellow, those are showing all of my adjectives. If you are in Mrs. Coco and Miss Thurlow's phonics groups, please can you label the picture of the city, which you can get from the Grange website, with adjectives to describe the city. You can use your word mats to help or think of your own, and then you can use those adjectives to write simple sentences. For example, the city is busy, the buildings are tall. If you are in my phonics group or Miss Zadie's phonics group, please can you use the word bank that you made and my word mat to describe the city and what Tom can see from his hot air balloon. Later it drifted across a great busy city at dawn. The city was bustling with crowds of people near the colossal buildings. Tom could see expensive, famous buildings and hear noisy traffic and car horns loudly beeping. That's your activity if you're on my group or Miss Zadie's group. And if you are in Mrs. Mehta's phonics group, please can you use your word bank that you made and my word mat to describe the city and what Tom can see from his hot air balloon. But your challenge is to use an exclamation mark and adjectives with and est suffixes. So for example, Tom could see the buildings which are even taller than the lighthouse. The city was the biggest and busiest place he had ever seen. And now it is time for our shout-outs. Well done to Abigail, well done to Daniel, well done to Aroma, well done to Nicole, well done to Kaylin. And remember to send your work to the Year 1 email address, and please keep sending in your end of year report comments to your teachers. Have a great Thursday.